Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaः. Bhutale Paramaya Parantika Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripasindhubhyascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Prasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, everyone. Sorry, today actually there is a very small purport, and I guess I don't have enough to talk about today. So let's start. It is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text 35. Shri Suta Vacha Kripaya Sneha Vaikalya Suto Viraha Karishitaha Atmeshwaram Achakshano Na Pratyaha Tipaditaha. Srila Sutta said, because of compassion and mental agitation, Sanjaya, not having seen his own master Dhritarashtra, was aggrieved and could not properly reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira. And I will just read the next verse also, then I will go to the purport. So next verse is verse 36, translation. First he slowly pacified his mind by intelligence, and wiping away his tears, thinking of the feet of his master Dhritarashtra, he began to reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira. So now I will go back to the purport of 36 has no purport, 35 has purport. So I will just read the translation again on 35. Srila Sutta Goswami said, because of compassion and mental agitation, Sanjaya, not having seen his own master Dhritarashtra, was aggrieved and could not properly reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sanjaya was the personal assistant of Maharaj Dhritarashtra for a very long time, and thus he had opportunity to study the life of Dhritarashtra. And when he saw at last that Dhritarashtra had left home without his knowledge, his sorrows had no bound. He was fully compassionate toward Dhritarashtra because in the game of battle of Kurukshetra, King Dhritarashtra had lost everything, men and money. And at last the king and the queen had to leave home in utter frustration. He studied the situation in his own way because he did not know that the inner vision of Dhritarashtra has been awakened by Vidura, and that therefore he had left home in enthusiastic cheerfulness for a better life after departure from the dark well of home. Unless one is convinced of a better life after renunciation of the present life, one cannot stick to the renounced order of life simply by artificial dress and staying out of the home. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he has basically two parts of the purport. So, the first part is Sanjaya's vision, how Sanjay is seeing, and second part is that what was the true situation, and that will be the true situation that will be mentioned by Narad Muni later on. So here in the first part, it's like Srila Prabhupada is saying that that was like a little strange for me and amazing that Sanjaya, he was he was so agitated and he was so distressed upon departure of Dhritarashtra. So because Sanjaya himself is a disciple of Srila Vyasadeva, and we know how Dhritarashtra was. So here it's like Sanjaya is thinking in his own way. So I was I was thinking that sometimes when we see a situation or someone else's what someone else is going through or whatever. We threw it from our viewpoint, like the way we can think. It's like when we have given the ingredients for cooking, so we can cook whatever the ingredients we have given, right? Like if I want to cook arher tur dal, then if I have tur dal, turmeric and salt, so I will cook only with tur dal, turmeric and tur dal, turmeric and salt. So similarly, when we are seeing a situation outside, like a situation or someone else's feelings or whatever, then we see it through our whatever our the way we think, the way our thinking processes, we perceive it in that way. So here Sanjaya, he was like Srila Prabhupada is saying that he was perceiving in his own way. So what he was thinking is Dhritarashtra, he lost his sons and he lost his kingdom. Now he's dependent of he's not king anymore, and he's dependent on the Pandavas. So he was like Sanjay's thinking, he was so frustrated that he was thinking, now I have nothing to look forward, it's better for me if I just leave the palace and go back to the jungle and just stay there, like out of frustration, utter frustration, I'm leaving this house. That is how Sanjay is seeing, and that's why he was feeling very sad that his master had to leave home in such frustration. Now the second part comes, and the second part is what Srila Prabhupada is telling us the real reason why Dhritarashtra left. So Srila Prabhupada is saying the why Dhritarashtra left is that Dhritarashtra he studied the situation, that the inner vision of Dhritarashtra has been awakened by Vidura. So that is the part that I liked a lot, that because the inner vision of Dhritarashtra was awakened by Vidura. So it's not that on our own we can have awakening suddenly or enlightenment. It has to be through a devotee. So here, if we go back in the situation, how Vidura left the home. So the war is about to start. Duryodhana tried to capture Krishna, and then Krishna, showed some of his mystic powers. Duryodhana could not arrest Krishna, and Krishna left, and then the war was inevitable, and Dhritarashtra was wondering like what should be done, and at that time he called Vidura, asked for his advice, and Vidura, without any fear, although Duryodhana was sitting just near Dhritarashtra, so without any fear, Vidura said, first of all, you need to throw out this person, Duryodhana, and give the kingdom to Yudhishthira. And Duryodhana gets really mad, and he says extremely piercing words, and in Srimad Bhagavatam, the verse said that the words of Duryodhana were like arrows, entered through the ears of Dhritarashtra and pierced his heart. So Duryodhana said, called him Dasi Putra, and he just asked him to just get out of the palace and throw him out of the palace. And Vidura left, and at that time Dhritarashtra was sitting by Duryodhana. Dhritarashtra did not say a single word out of affection and attachment and fear of his son Duryodhana. So now Vidura leaves the house, and he goes to he takes this as an opportunity to get out and to go to the holy places and meet the devotees. So he goes out, he meets Maitreya Rishi, and he gets the enlightenment. And then Vidura, he's a sadhu. He didn't have to come back. He could have easily thought, Dhritarashtra is getting what he deserved, the way he treated with me, and anyway, what can I do? He's so attached. Let him go through whatever he's doing, and he should have left it at that point. But the sadhu is non-envious. I was reading one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, and I was hearing one lecture from Srila Prabhupada yesterday. there Srila Prabhupada was describing the qualities of a sadhu from the verse Titikshva Karunika. So there he says one of the qualities of sadhu is Karunika. He is compassionate, and Suhrit Sarva Bhutana. Sorry, Suhrit Sarva Dehina. That is how it is in the verse. So the sadhu is not like that. This is a good person, I will preach this person. This is bad person, this is envious of me, and I don't want to preach this person. Let me preach this person. No, Srila Prabhupada was saying sadhu is otherwise. Srila Prabhupada was saying, what is the use of preaching if we do not if a sadhu does not preach everyone, because this world is mostly full of uh, bad people, then who are we preaching? Just some small good men? That is not the how the preaching is done. Preaching is to do. Preaching is to preach everyone. And also, Srila Prabhupada said that he's not envious. A sadhu should not be envious of the material progress for the others. Rather, sadhu is compassionate and always thinking like that, that how these people can be happy with the way they are going. And sadhu is always meditating on this, that what, in which way, like how should I act, or how should I preach them, so that I can get this person out of this this attachments, material bondage, and take them back to Krishna, back to Godhead. So that is how a sadhu's meditation is. So and that these are the qualities we see in Vidura. So Vidura, he comes back, and there is one more thing I was thinking was that when Dhatrashtra left the palace, means Dhritarashtra could have given the same knowledge to sorry, I'm sorry, I really, mix up with the words. So Vidura, when he was leaving the palace, he could have tried giving some enlightenment to Dhritarashtra. But Vidura at that time, he was thinking that Duryodhan is paving his path towards the hell on his own. And this is act of Mahamaya, so an external energy of the Lord. So Vidura did not say anything, because that was not the right situation to speak, since at that time Dhritarashtra was too attached to his son, and at that same time fearful of his son also. So Dhritarashtra would not have listened to Vidura, whatever Vidura had to say. So that is a reason Vidura did not speak at that time. But now Vidura knew that Dhritarashtra's heart would have opened up because he lost all his sons and he lost his kingdom. So Vidura comes, and Vidura speaks very harsh words. So that does not mean that when we are talking to others, we are preaching others, then we should not like immediately, if someone is, let's say someone have lost someone, or some pain is going on in someone's life, right? Some material difficulties going on in someone's life. So we will not go and say immediately, like if someone has died. There was one case, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was speaking about one devotee, how he left Krishna consciousness, and he was saying that when something happened in his life and his wife committed suicide. So another devotee went to him, and he started preaching that person, that devotee, other devotee whose wife committed suicide, saying that it's good, it is good that she has committed suicide now, or everything, you can leave all the attachments behind and you can just move on in your spiritual life. But when this devotee, when he heard that, then he started thinking that means what kind of these people are who are speaking like that. And he left. So just like when we go for a surgery, okay? And then a doctor has to do the surgery. So doctor has to give the anesthesia, the pain medication. The doctor does not start the surgery just like that, to start cutting the stomach. So the pain medication is important. So similarly, when someone is going through the pain, it is very important to hear them, and to listen to them, to console them, because we need to see when is the right time to speak. It's not that, okay, now is my chance and we start just speaking, preaching. So it has to be done very carefully. And the second point is, the first thing is the time, and the second point is that one should have a relationship with the person. So Vidura had relationship with Dhritarashtra. Uh, like if if you do not have relationship, like let's say my mom, right? And if I'm her daughter, and if I just suddenly take up the position of a preacher for my mom and start telling her whatever you're doing is wrong, you should not do it, and blah blah blah, she will not be able to take it, because that is not uh, what she has seen me. That is not how she has seen me till now. I'm her daughter, and generally I go to her and I talk to her respectfully. So I cannot just start saying anything what I want to her, or in a or preach her in such a way that may be hurtful for her. So we have to see what is our relationship. There should be a respectful relationship, and there should be a trust that, okay, whatever I'm saying, the other person is trusting me, that I'm saying it for that person's well-being. I'm not saying out of envy or jealousy, because sometimes if we say something, that person will say, she's just saying because she's not going through that situation. I'm going through this situation, I know what the pain it takes. So that is why we need to see what is our relationship, and what is the situation, and how the other person is going to take it. And when Vidura came back, and also sorry, one more thing is that we should have one thing which is very important, that we should have is compassion for the other person, and sensitivity to other person, that how much one can take. Another example that is coming to my mind is Chitraketu. I'm taking the Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's speaking on that, on the pastime of Vritasura. So Chitraketu, when Narad Muni was, when Chitraketu was desiring to have a son, he did not have a son. So at that time, Angira Rishi comes, and when Angira Rishi saw that Chitraketu really wants the son, and Angira Rishi could understand that he's not ready to take the knowledge right now. So he blesses him that you will get a son, but he will give you happiness as well as sadness. So they named him Harshashoka. And when Harshashoka was poisoned by the other queens of the king, that time king was in so much grief. And that time when Narad Muni and Angira Rishi come, then they give him the knowledge. And when Narad Muni was speaking, then, but still Chitraketu was not able to uh, grasp it. He was still in grief. And so Narad Muni, he uses his mystic powers to basically to help Chitraketu to understand. And then he gets the soul back to the body, and soul talks to Chitraketu, and then Chitraketu, soul is saying the same thing what Narad Muni was saying. But when his son said it, then Chitraketu's eyes opened up. So the another thing is that the humility, and to keep the goal in our mind, we should not try to become the controller, that why this person is not listening to me, although I'm trying to explain him and he's not understanding, and then we keep on giving the arguments. That doesn't work. So we have to keep the goal in our mind, that the goal is to help this person. If and be sensitive. Okay, the person is not understanding, so okay, let me use some other way. So as we see, Narad Muni, it was his humility also, that when he saw that Chitraketu is not listening, he's not able to grasp what Narad Muni is saying. So Chitraketu, uh, he used his mystic powers to get the sun back and speak. So these are the things that we need to be careful of when we are preaching others. It's like if someone is going through the pain, we want to minimize that person's pain as much as possible, not aggravate it. So Vidura, he had that relationship, and that is why he could say the cutting words to Dhritarashtra. And at that time when Dhritarashtra, he was going through that grief, he understood. So he left the house. So did he leave the house in utter frustration, like Sanjaya was thinking, the way he left the house in utter frustration? That's what Sanjaya's perception was. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying, I really liked it. He said, Dhritarashtra left his home in enthusiastic cheerfulness. So like when the kids they get admission in a good college, and they get what they wanted to pursue in their career, they go to the college very happily. Why they go to the college very happily? Because they know by going to the college they will get the degree, they will get the good job, so there is a good future ahead of them. So they are really enthusiastic, and that I want to go, and they're cheerful, they are happy also that I'm progressing towards the good future in my life. So similarly, Dhritarashtra, he left, Srila Prabhupada is saying, for a better life. And there is another point Srila Prabhupada is mentioning after that is, for the better life after departure from the dark well of home. So dark well of home. So for a better life from the dark well of home. Prahlad Maharaj also says this in 7.5.5 when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj that what did you learn from your teacher? So that is what Prahlad Maharaj says, that there is the whole verse, but I won't say that. I'll just use the word. He uses the word Griha Andhakupam. He advises his father that you are like getting too attached, and you're getting caught up in this web of material desires. So you need to leave your house. It's not house, the Graha. Griha, this is not the word used by Prahlad Maharaj. He said Griha Andhakupam. Andhakupam is blind well. And in the same lecture I was hearing from Srila Prabhupada, he was saying that the Andhakupam is like a well, and where on the top there is green grass. Okay? And underneath there is a well or a pit. So if one is going to get the green grass or whatever, then one will fall down in the well. And what is this well? Well is without any water. So although person is going to get the happiness, or let's say one animal is going to animal is seeing the grass, and he's going and thinking that I will get good grass over there. But what happens when he goes there, just falls down in the well, and it's nothing but sufferings and no water. So means what does it mean? That does it mean that we also leave our house and go to the jungle? No. Srila Prabhupada says that if in the house, Graha Andhakupam, it is Graha Andhakupam, it is when there is no Krishna in the center. We are just living for the sense gratification. So why it is andhakupam? It is andhakupam because we are getting caught in this mesh. That is the word when Krishna uses in one of the verses when describing the demoniac nature, the mesh of our own desires. Like a drug addict, when a drug addict is taking drugs, then the drug addict does not realize that he or she is getting more uh, more caught up in that, more and more caught up, although that person is thinking I'm enjoying, but it is not. For one single moment it might be enjoyment, but that drug addict is getting caught up. Later on there will be so many health problems because of taking those drugs. So similarly, when if there is no God in the family, no Krishna in the center of the family, then it's like that we are just living for our material desires, and we think that these my husband, my wife, my kids, my friends, my family, they are going to save me. But we don't know, because of this time everything is going to be taken away in any case, either by death, or kids grow up, they go out, they stay separately, or we leave our parents, we go to different country. So by the time we come together, and with time we separate. So there will thinking that okay, these my family members will protect me, this will protect me, that will protect me. No, no one will protect. And that is what Vidura came. That is why Vidura came, because that is how Dhritarashtra was at that time. Means he's in his old age, advanced age, and still he wants to. You see, this is what happens if we do not get the enlightenment. We think, okay, when we get old, we will take to this path. It's not that easy, because the desires become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Just like when one is taking drugs, then one is getting more and more and more and more dependent on drugs. Similarly, when we are always involved in sense gratification, when we are not trying to do some austerity to slowly reduce the sense gratification, then we are getting more and more and more caught up in that. And Vidura could see that Dhritarashtra is still so attached, and he's paving his path towards hell. So that is where Vidura came, and he gave his enlightenment, that is already discussed in the chapter. And then Dhritarashtra left, and then Dhritarashtra understood, he got the message, because at the end, Srila Prabhupada is saying that if one takes sannyas, right, or renunciation due to frustration, we cannot sustain it until unless we have higher taste. Like the 6 Goswamis in Vrindavan, they were staying like one day under one tree, another day under another tree, right? So how were they living like that? What was going in their heart, and what was going in their mind? Were not they seeing that the difficulty they are going through? No, what was happening was, when the 6 Goswamis, they were living in the Vrindavan, in their heart, they were always absorbed in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And also they were thinking Karunika, they were thinking that they were writing the literatures, and they were thinking so that how we can be delivered. So that is where their mind was focused on, and that is how they were feeling that rasa, extreme happiness in their heart. So until unless we have higher taste, we cannot sustain for few days. Maybe one can take renunciation out of frustration, but after that, one cannot sustain until unless one has higher taste. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that even if we give up the objects of senses, but the taste of sense still remains. So until unless we get higher taste, we cannot give up the lower taste. So that is what what was there in the purport of the Srila Prabhupada. So that is what I had to say. And if there are any discussions, so you can. Take discussion. So if there are no discussions, then we can end it.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Nice.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Now these are short verses.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Prabhu. Vanchikal Pataru Veshta Kapasindhu Pecha Patidanam.